So in 1980, there was the Iran hostage crisis where there was a bunch of hostages held in Iran and America failed to get them out. And that was the driving reason why the Osprey was created. It was to get a large group of troops into an area very quickly. So this is the first successful tilt rotor airplane slash helicopter thing. Or I don't know what you is a tilt rotor. I'm sure there's been many other tilt rotors in the past, but this is the first military one that seems to be actively working. Although development, there were several crashes and many Marines have died and stuff, so it is very unfortunate. There's been over 400 of these things built, and Wikipedia says at $110 million each. They started being produced in 1988, and they were introduced into service in 2007. So yeah, a long development time trying to make something that's basically a helicopter, and then it becomes an airplane. Most of its flight time, like 75% of its flight time, is usually in airplane mode. And it has handling characteristics like a C-130, so people say. So the crew would vary between 3 and 4 people, depending if it's going to be carrying a load of like artillery or vehicle or troops. It can hold up to 32 troops and or 20,000 pounds of internal cargo, or up to 15,000 pounds of external cargo on a dual hook. Its length is 57 feet or under 18 meters. Wingspan is 45 feet some odd, and under 14 meters. You'll notice in this image here, it can fold up, which is obviously good for aircraft carriers, because not only do the Marines use this, but the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Air Force, and also Japan uses this particular vehicle. Let's see, I'm a little curious here. It's powered by 2 Rolls-Royce engines, and there's a drive shaft connecting the two, so in flight mode, if an engine fails, it can still fly. But I guess in helicopter mode, one engine really isn't powerful enough, and so that's why a lot of people have perished in its early days. Let's see, maximum speed is 360 miles per hour, or 509 kilometers an hour. And its range, combat range, 390 nautical miles, which is really 450 miles, or 720 kilometers. I don't know the reasoning why nautical miles are different from regular land miles, but whatever. Okay, so that was quite a bit to read, but it's a very innovative flying thing. I can't say airplane, I can't say helicopter, tilt rotor. Alright, so I 3D printed this base myself. It's just my own thing. And I had to drill a 3mm hole into it in order to use this base. Let me get this out, it's not glued in. Alright. So there were 2 decal sets. You know what, hold on, let me get rid of those photos. I just went with this decal set because, I don't know, I just like the color. Before that, I should talk about the construction of this thing. In general, the fitment was fine. Nothing was grossly out of whack. I guess there's a little chunk of plastic missing here. I didn't bother filling it in. Maybe the alignment of the 2 seams, the 2 half seams here, could have been better. That could have been my fault though. Maybe I should have held it better while the glue was curing. I did airbrush this. Vallejo water-based paints, a little lighter gray and then darker gray on the top surfaces, and a little bit of randomness here on the sides. That's what I saw online. And then I hand painted the window framing, which was a really laborious, horrible process, mainly because the molds are not very good. The definition between the window panes and what's supposed to be colored has almost no height difference. So you can't even hear my pick go over that. So it's really difficult to mask this off, or if you have an overrun, to get rid of paint. And so it took hours to do this. And then the funny thing is, I realized all these gray lines are in the decal set, which is right here. It's just that when I built the SR-71, there was no decals for the cockpit. So anyways, if you want to save a lot of time, just use the decals. But the issue with decals is they're gonna flake off, and I don't know. I don't have any paint, or I'm not aware of a paint that you can put over a clear canopy and actually keep it clear. I know a lot of people use like Pledge or Future Shine, but that's not available where I live, so I don't have a choice. So I probably wouldn't have used the decals anyways. But ideally, they would just mold these things better. This is the very latest kit that they've done, and they've made no advancements on making this easier to make. I have a hard time thinking a child would be able to execute this very easily. With decals, fine, but then you just scratch them off, they would flake off as well. So yeah, that's a problem. These windows did have crevices, but then the decals just cover them. So this blackness you see is a decal, and that black and this gray are all the same decal, including this here. So I guess that's nice, because if for some reason that decal did scratch off, you could go back and paint it. So I used a lot of super strong Tamiya Mark Fit to make all these things fit, all these curvatures and whatnot. Okay, let's see. So yeah, definitely this is one giant decal. This thing going all the way here and here. So you need to have some sort of decal softener, make it conform to this dome, and also here conform into this crack area. This and this are two separate decals. This is another decal. So there's 4 decals mimicking this. I don't know what this is up here. Please leave a comment if you know. I know this. Wikipedia said like over 40% of this thing is made of carbon composites or some sort of laminates instead of metals. Okay, well, the main thing I guess you want to know is you can actually tilt the motors here, and they fit very well. Right? See, if you press it in, it's pretty much seamless, which is great. And then you can also spin these propellers. I just see. Oh, maybe the clear coat. No, they don't spin freely, but that's fine by me. So yeah, you can do the flight mode, which is pretty cool. They're so deformed. They're so short, and this thing is so. It looks similar to an egg for sure, in size as well. So actually, that brings up a point. Roughly, how big is this thing? Overall length, I would say maybe somewhere around 86 millimeters, because it's hard to measure this in the nose. Overall width, maybe around 105, depending on if the propellers are totally flat. Actually more 110-ish. Yeah, so height, I don't care. Okay, so that's neat. There's a bunch of extra decals, so I didn't know where they went, so I just put this there. I put some on the back. There's no indication of any of these decals being back there, so I guess it's nice to have extra decals. I did have to trim off the plastic mounting this landing gear into the 2 slots up there quite a bit, so you want to test fit everything before you paint anything. The tires, I believe, are separate pieces from the landing gear, so you can paint those separately quite easily. But the wheel and tire are the same mold, so you'll have to hand paint that carefully or mask it off. Okay, what else here? I guess on the outside, that's it. I had to use super strong decal softener on this like 10 times, and it still didn't go into all the crannies, nooks and crannies there. So that's a pretty thick decal. Yeah. So it came with 2 faces of a pilot, but only one back. So if you see, look in here, this is a complete pilot. That's the one I chose. But then I realized I could just take the second face and just glue it up against the wall, and I think that works. It just fits. It's a friction fit holding it in there. It's so tight. But I think it would have been smart if they just designed the cockpit a little bit wider and give you one extra little piece of plastic so you could have 2 people side by side as it should be. One other issue you should be mindful of, there's a tooth here. but it's really difficult to press this down and lift it out. So I ended up trimming a large part of that off. And so you have this tooth. This is not a tooth really. It's just I guess a tab. So sliding in here. I added these decals in the interior. It didn't come with any interior decals. So yeah, just that. And then a little poster putty. We'll keep that in place. It did ask for this to be smoked clear paint, but I didn't have any, so I just put some dark in there. This is a cartoon plane. I don't care. It's so much about realism. Like these insignia were extra decals, and I don't know where to put them, so I just stuck them on there and there. Yeah, not in the same location though. So you're gonna have some extra decals. You don't have to put them all on, but I figured why not. I suppose I should add some black paint in here. I added these decals extra, I think, from some other. No, they were from this kit. They just didn't. The instructions didn't indicate where they belong. So I looked at some images and I saw something like vents down there. So I do have my first build, which is the SR-71, and yeah, they're similar in size. Obviously scaling plays no role in most deformed toys, or models in this case, but they're roughly the same size as far as being able to put them in a display case or something like that. This is my own design. This 3D printed stand is not for sale. Okay, so I do have a few more of these model kits to build, and I'll probably get a bunch of the other ones as well. Sadly, you know, this is an earlier kit, and I complained about, you know, the lack of height definition on the cockpit, and same here. They have made no advancements in the latest kit to make it easier to paint. But at least this one, they added some decals to do the cockpit, but again, I think it's just gonna fall off. So you get what you pay for. These are not expensive model kits, and they definitely look cool, I think. You just gotta put in some time. Putting the actual model together takes minutes. It's painting and all that stuff that takes hours. Alright, well anyways, we'll see you in the next Eggplane video. Thanks for watching today. Over easy.